If getting your products into boutiques has been on your list for some time, then this is your sign. The Retail Ready Wholesale Challenge is a 5-day private podcast experience that walks you through exactly how to find the right retailers, write a pitch that gets replies, and follow up like a pro. It's only 20 minutes a day, $25, and by day 3, you'll have real pitches in real retailer inboxes. One wholesale account more than pays for this challenge many times over. Go to retailreadychallenge.com or the link in the show notes to grab your spot. Okay, I'm going to say something that might ruffle some feathers, and it's this. Your gut instinct might be lying to you, and it's not because you're not smart, it's not because you're not capable, but because your gut instinct is only as wise as the experiences you've had. And if your experiences have been limited, then your instincts are working off a very small data set. Here's what I see all the time. A product-based business owner might have a wholesale opportunity that just lands in her lap. A boutique reaches out, a trade show opportunity comes up, and maybe it's a chance to pitch a national retailer that you've dreamed about. And instead of moving forward, she hesitates. Her gut instinct says it doesn't feel right. It feels too risky. It's too big, too soon. Because listen, our gut is designed to keep us safe. And so she passes, or she delays, or she talks herself out of it. And then 2 years later, she's still at the same revenue number, wondering why she feels stuck. That gut feeling, it was not wisdom. It was fear dressed up as intuition. And so today, we're going to break down that pattern because you deserve decisions that move you forward, not feelings that keep you small. Hi, friends. Welcome to She Sells Differently, the show for aspiring women entrepreneurs looking to overcome the fear of selling and grow thriving businesses from a place of authenticity and confidence. I'm Andee Hart, and it wasn't all that long ago that I was a sales executive for a Fortune 500 company. But I knew in my heart that I was called to use my gifts for something more, something different. That's exactly why I created the She Sells Differently podcast. Each episode is going to deliver you business strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to help set you and your brand apart from our culture's expectations. It's time to elevate your sales and build a profitable, sustainable business you're proud of, one built on integrity, grace, and humility. It's time to learn how to sell differently. Hey, welcome back to the She Sells Differently podcast. I am your host, Andee Hart, and if this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found this podcast. This show exists for product-based business owners who are done with the hustle, done with inconsistent sales, and ready to build something that actually scales and grows. We talk strategy, we talk systems, and have real conversations that happen behind the scenes of growing a product brand. And today's episode is one of those real conversations. It's a little bit of a mindset episode, but I want to be clear, this is not just that stuffy motivation. This is going to be practical, strategic, and by the end of this episode, you're going to see your decision-making process in a completely different way. At least that's my goal. So, as I mentioned before, we're talking about gut instinct, and specifically why following your gut in business without questioning where that feeling actually comes from is one of the biggest reasons that product business owners stay stuck at the same level for years. How do I know this? Because I have lived it. And so let's get down into it. Here's the problem with following your gut instinct. We live in a culture that really romanticizes gut feelings. You hear all the time, trust your gut, go with your feelings. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Do what makes you happy, blah, blah, blah. And I want to be fair here. There's really value in intuition, God-given intuition. That is a gift. But here's also what no one tells you. Your gut is it's not some mystical compass. What it is it's pattern recognition. And so your brain wants to default to keeping you safe, and it draws conclusions based on past experiences. And so how that translates is it means that if your past experiences are limited, you have limited experience, your gut is working with limited information, limited data. So think about it this way. If you've only ever sold your products at weekend markets, then you might be thinking to yourself when a wholesale opportunity comes along that it's too risky. And that's because your gut instinct has no frame of reference. You've never done it. It feels uncomfortable. And so it does what it always does when something feels unfamiliar. Your gut instinct flags it as a threat and wants to keep you safe. And it's not because the opportunity is dangerous. It's because your gut just doesn't know it yet, has never experienced it. But here's the sneaky part. Limited experience doesn't just create uncertainty, it actually can create false confidence too. Complete flip side, right? When we've done something a handful of times and it's worked, we start to feel like we have it figured out. We start to feel like experts, and that feeling closes us off to new information, new strategies, new ways of doing things. I have seen that happen with my own business because I did scale, even though I failed miserably with my first couple of months in pitching wholesale, but then it took off very fast. But what I realized is that I did not know everything there was to know about wholesale at that point. And so I stayed a student for a long time. And I'm still a student. I'm still always learning. I also see this happen with pricing because when you're selling your products at market, you find a price point there that moves and sells quickly. And then you think that you've nailed it. And then maybe you start wholesaling and you learn that that pricing structure won't work at all because you have no margin for the retailer. And you trusted your gut based on the information you had, and the pricing was right, but it was right for that context. It was completely wrong for the new scenario. And so here's what I want you to take away from that. Knowing one thing well is not the same as knowing the whole game. And the sooner that you accept that, the sooner that we accept that reality, the faster we can grow. The first time you pitch your products to a boutique buyer, it can feel scary. The first time you raise your prices, your stomach may drop thinking you're going to lose customers. Or maybe the first time you say no to a consignment deal because you know your worth, you might be shaking a little bit. I know. That discomfort, it's not danger. It is expansion. It is you growing. And if every big move felt comfortable and familiar, then listen, everyone would do it. Everyone would do it. Use discomfort as the filter. It's what separates the businesses that scale from the ones that stay the same size forever. Our gut often resists the very moves that would level us up, and growth requires uncomfortable decisions, full stop. Here's a pattern that I see constantly in so many of the students who come through my program or who I work with and coach. They feel ready to start wholesale, but their gut says the timing isn't right. They're not ready. Or they have a store interested in carrying their product, but their gut instinct is saying their product line isn't ready. They don't have a catalog ready or a line sheet. In almost every one of these cases, when we actually look at the data, the opportunity is solid. The timing is reasonable. The product is ready, and the knowledge gap is bridgeable. But our gut instinct doesn't know that yet. The gut only knows what it has been through before, and it hasn't been through this. So what do we trust if we're not trusting our gut? We're trusting patterns. We're trusting data. We're trusting the experiences of people who have already done what you're trying to do. And when I'm working with someone on their wholesale strategy, I'm not asking how they feel about pitching their products to retailers. I'm asking, What does the data say? What do the numbers show? What patterns do we see in accounts that are performing well versus the ones that stall? But here's the good news in all of this. Your gut feelings, they're not fixed. They can be upgraded, but you cannot upgrade in isolation. You upgrade it by upgrading what you feed it. You have mentors, better data, better environments, better questions. Because when you surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, then your gut starts recalibrating. You start to make better decisions. When you learn from someone who has already made the mistakes and cracked the code, your gut gets new patterns to work from. So think about it this way. If you've only ever eaten at one restaurant your whole life, your palate, what you like, it is limited. Your gut says that's what food tastes like. But the moment you start eating in different places, trying new things, learning from people who know good food, your sense of what good expands and your ability to recognize quality grows. And your business instincts work exactly the same way. So I want you to make yourself a promise right now. The next time you feel that pull of maybe your gut saying, this doesn't feel right, or this is uncomfortable or scary, before you walk away, I want you to ask yourself this question. It's important not to deny that feeling, but to put it into context. When it comes to business, when you feel that, ask, is this actually a red flag, or is this just unfamiliar? Is this just uncomfortable? Because there's a real difference there. Red flags are things like misaligned values or going against your values. Those are legitimate instincts that are worth following, right? But unfamiliar is just new. And new is where the growth lives. And the bigger the opportunity, the less familiar it's going to feel. And so just a reminder to yourself, it's not a warning. That is how you know that you're in growth mode. Here's what I want you to do in the next 24 to 48 hours. I want you to think about one decision that you've been avoiding or delaying in your business. One thing you keep telling yourself is not the right timing. It doesn't feel right yet. I'm not ready. And then I want you to ask, is this a genuine red flag or is this just uncomfortable and unfamiliar? And I want you to write down 3 data points that actually support or challenge the decision. Don't write down feelings. I want you to write down data, numbers, patterns, examples from others who have been in a similar position. And if you realize your hesitation is rooted in unfamiliarity rather than evidence, make one small move toward the thing. Not the whole leap, just one step that gets your gut some new information to work with. Okay, here's where I want you to connect this to something real. Everything we've talked about today, the limited instincts, the fear masking itself as gut feeling, the pattern recognition that comes from upgrading your inputs, it all leads to one place. And if you have been trying to figure out how to scale your product business on your own, going by your gut, testing things without a framework, making decisions based on what feels right, rather than what actually works, then I want to invite you to something better. And I created the FAIR Accelerator for exactly this. It's the environment upgrade that your business needs. We give you the systems, the support, the strategy to stop letting fear make your decisions and start letting results lead. If you're ready to 10x your wholesale revenue on FAIR in the next 90 days, then I want you to head to the link in the show notes to learn more and join us. Your gut feelings, I promise your gut will catch up once it sees what is possible. So I want to thank you for spending time with me on this. This is something that I have been thinking about so much lately as I have seen some of my clients make business decisions based on what they thought or their gut instinct, when in reality, when I showed them the data, it was something else entirely. And that changed the game, literally changed the trajectory for their business. If you found this valuable, I would love it if you shared it with another product business owner and leave a review. This is how I get my show out to more people, and it genuinely helps my business grow. So I will see you back here next week. Until then, keep selling differently. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of She Sells Differently. Friends, it would be a huge blessing to me if you would take 2 seconds to rate and subscribe to my podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Until then, I'm cheering you on in your entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.